People, I'm going to answer your questions from the last couple weeks of 2025, looking into 2026. I'm going to share with you my own strategy for how I am going to be using my content, monetizing my content in 2026. These are questions that I got from you all on my Instagram platform at Chad Sand, as well as in my webinars. I'm going to jump right in. I wish I had like that NFL music behind me. There's like ba 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 ba, but I don't have it. But I'm just gonna go. All right, I'm gonna go. No intros. Here we go. I'm skipping to the middle of these questions because there's one very important question that always comes up. Do I use ads? How should ads be used on social media platforms? The answer is I 100% absolutely do use ads. I spend about $20 a day on advertising, and it's primarily on Meta's Instagram platform. Why? Because I know how much every single person who comes to my platform is worth to me as a business. And so it's worth it to me to spend $20 a day getting my content out to a few thousand people who otherwise might not see my content so that they come into the larger ecosystem of what I offer to people here and so that they see everything I have to offer. And a few of them become long term community members, they become long term audience for me, and some of them become customers for me. Now, some of the people who I am watching as I grow my own machine in this whole thing, my own spaceship, some of these people spend millions of dollars on advertising on social media platforms because it is so worth it to them to take up the lion's share of people's attention to bring them into their ecosystem so that they'll pay for what they're offering as products and services. I don't have that kind of budget right now. I am a bootstrapped business at this point in time. And so I have to do a more gradual build where I spend my $20 a day, get access to a few more thousand eyeballs every single day who come into my ecosystem and see what I have to offer. What I would add here is that ads are worth more to me because the content that I make is already better than most of the content that's out there, which is to say, my content performs very well organically. And so the ads that I put out or the ads that I use to get more access to eyeballs for my content is to raise the floor of how many people see my content every single day, as opposed to raising the ceiling. The ceiling raisers are the big booms. It's the videos that get 100,000 or a million views or something like that. The ads are to make sure that on any given day, no fewer than X amount of people see my content, even if I don't put any content out there, right? Sometimes I have the flu. Sometimes I'm traveling. Sometimes there's a break in my operation. And so, for whatever reason, the content can't go out on that day, which means I still need people to see the high performing reels and videos and YouTube shorts that I've already created every single day, whether or not I put something out new or not, which is why I run those ads. Now, I could go infinite layers deep on the value of ads and how to optimize them on these platforms, but that wasn't the question. So if that's something that somebody wants to know specifically, you can reach out to me and we'll add it to the list. All right, now I'm going to go top down. Your questions from that we've plucked from my Instagram platform, from my webinars, etc. Here's question number two. Does niche matter? So, first of all, let's define terms. I would describe niche as far as it goes on social media platforms as your specific island that someone is choosing to visit because they want X. For instance, I know that when people come to my audience now, today, what many of them are looking for is information on how they can use content to grow their business or break into Hollywood, right? Now, some people have told me, they're like, man, it's so cool that you have such a clearly defined niche. I don't know how it's pronounced, whatever. And they say, how did you find yourself in a place where you knew exactly what people wanted from you? My answer to that question is, I still don't know exactly what people want from me. That is an ongoing, everyday, infinite game that I'm playing with my audience. It's figuring out deeper and deeper and deeper why they're here, why they're following me, what they want to learn from me, but more specifically, what they want to buy from me, right? Because that's how I make a living. That's how I offer them value is I figure out what they want. I offer that thing to them as best I can, and we make a trade, their money for what I have to offer. The challenge here with niche and the rush to finding your niche is that when people rush to find a niche, they bypass so many things of value that they might have to offer people in that hurry to find themselves in a place where they know exactly what island they are. They want to know, what cafeteria table do I sit at in the cafeteria? Well, you don't know until you have sat at all the ones that might interest you and might interest your audience enough times to see what sticks. I'll say it more literally. I don't want to be too metaphorical here. My niche today, where I have some of probably 100,000 followers across platforms, right? So a pretty big audience, but not a gigantic audience, right? An email list that's in the thousands, not in the hundreds of thousands or the millions, right? So a strong and potent audience, but not an enormous audience. Um, my niche today could be entirely different from the niche that is going to blast me off into being a brand that has an audience in the millions, an audience in the tens of millions, a brand that covers multiple different industries. Now, as it stands today, already within that 100,000 followers, people that follow me, some of them know me for Hollywood stuff. Some of them know me for books. Some of them know me for business content. Some of them like my thoughts on almost like ethereal concepts like the future and human emotions and relationships and things like this, things that are a little bit less material and more metaphysical. Regardless, I have only found a connection to those different audiences because by accident, I was willing to experiment with many different types of ideas on my platforms to see what connected with people. There are times when I bring up something that's interesting to me and I give it my full process, right? I create a video around it with a hook, a story, an offer. I put it out. I engage with the comments. I watch what people say. And no matter how interesting it is to me, sometimes only, I don't know, 1,500, 2,500 people see the video at all because people weren't that into it. Now, there are other times where I pull something out of thin air that I'm just driving around thinking about, and I go and make a video with the same exact process, nothing different, and 100,000 people see it. Now, is one of those my niche and the other one's not? I don't know until I've tested my voice with those concepts enough times that I can tell definitively that people are here for this. So ultimately, what I'm trying to tell you is that niche does matter at a certain size of brand, but at the size that I'm at the size that you're probably at, we don't know what our niche is until we've experimented enough with things we're passionate about, things that we're curious about, and things that we may have some expertise in and some burning questions, curiosities in to see what clicks for people. The next question is, how do you monetize your content? Which I take to mean, how do I specifically monetize my content? Because I cannot even begin to tell you all the many different ways that other people monetize their content. But just to name a few, you have people who quite literally take checks from the social media platforms because they make enough in by way of engagement and enough by way in earning advertising dollars for those platforms to want to pay them or to have to pay them. You have people like me who do a little bit of that, but a lot more of making content that serves particular audiences, learns what those audiences want, and then offers it to them. And I'll be specific about what that process actually looks like for me. All right. How do I monetize my content? This is such a clinically robotic question that people ask. I know what they're trying to ask, which is, how do you make money? And I'm going to do my best to answer it as clinically and specific as it's being asked, without sounding like a robot. Okay. My job is to find people who want something that I have or something that I'm willing to make for them if it's worth it to me, and to make a trade with those people, their money for my offering. Content is just a vehicle for me to reach those people and build trust with them so that they will make that trade with me. That is as simple as it could possibly be. The content is just the message in a bottle that goes across the ocean, reaches another person and says, "Hey, I'm here. This is what I believe. This is what I know how to do. This is what I'm working on. Are you somebody who would like something from me? Are you willing to make a trade?" Now, let's actualize it, okay? How do I monetize my content in that way? How do I use content as a vessel in that way? Number one, every single day, I make a number of videos. I also write a number of messages into my stories. I also produce now long form content like this that gives people access to my ideas, my thoughts, my way of seeing the world, my visions, what I want for myself, what I want for others, what I'm trying to offer, what I know how to do, my skill set, etc. I am trying to give them as clear and accurate a depiction of me as I possibly can. I distribute that across so many channels, right? Instagram is my primary channel, but now I'm going to be building out more here on YouTube. I'm on TikTok, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on WhatsApp. I have an email list, an SMS text list. I am not shy about all the ways that I want to reach people. I want people to know that if ever they are waiting for a message to receive, there will be there one for them from Chad Sanders. Now, what I would add about the way that I produce my content, which I do think is a differentiator for me, and I'm getting to the monetization part, just wait. But the first step is you got to make the content. What I would add is that a differentiator for me is that um, I make thoughtful content, right? I don't do, um, I don't just go watch the top 1,000 creators. And this is something that's going on. This is something that is, I don't know, this is the way of the world today. I don't just go watch the top 1,000 creators and say, oh, okay, I need to make my videos exactly as long as theirs. I need to put my edits in the exact same places. I need to have an offering that mirrors theirs and just slightly tweaks the language. I need to use their same captions. I need to use their same stylized fonts, their same thumbnails, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't do that. I don't study the internet in that way. The way that I study the internet is this: I pay attention to the audience. I go read the comments. I go read my comments. I go watch what my friends, I go look at how my friends are watching the internet. When they send me a video, I hardly even watch the video. What I do watch is the way that they try to get me to watch it. What do they say to try to get me to watch it? What do they say when they send it to the text group? What text follows? Because what I'm trying to learn is the behaviors of the audience, not the behaviors of the creators. I'm a creator. I can figure out, once I know what the audience wants, I can figure out what will satisfy them and what will satisfy me and my creative impulse. That's what I'm aiming for. I'm not aiming for clickbait, so to speak. Of course, I want my engagement. Engagement, again, we use these robot terms. Engagement just means, do people like to respond, to talk about, to share the stuff that you put out there? Every creative, every artist, every entrepreneur wants people to do that. That's what engagement is. But more important to me is, are the right people sharing my information? Are the right people talking to their friends about what I do? Are the right people watching all my videos on an airplane back to back to back to back to back? That's the behavior that I'm studying, less so specifically what content is on the internet. I actually don't spend a lot of time. This is about to be a lie. I was about to say I don't spend a lot of time looking at the internet. I spend a gazillion hours looking at the internet, but I don't spend a lot of time mindlessly scrolling through the internet, because what's more important than the content is the comments. I'll come back to that. Now, once I have produced enough content that I believe to be thoughtful and meaningful to what I see that people want out there, the next thing that I do is, as I'm watching people respond to my own comments, as I'm watching people fill up my DMs with their questions and responses and ideas and asks and curiosities, I engage them because they're people. Now, this is what we would call business development. This is what we would call sales if we were talking about an old school, I don't know, like an old school paper company, right? But the same rules apply today, which is to say, those people who are engaging with you, those people who are responding to your content, those people who are responding to your ideas and sharing them, they're your consumers, they're your customer base. Those are people who want to know more about what you have to offer. Talk to them. That's this. I'm telling you very specifically how you monetize content, okay? Ask them questions. What's on your mind? What did you see in this? What's your biggest challenge with what you're chasing in your field? Where are you going to go from there? Oh, did you think that this was valuable? What else that I could say to you or offer you would be valuable to you? What would help you get through that wall that you keep running into over and over and over again? If you treat them like people, and if you ask them questions that are meaningful, that advance the conversation without being pushy toward a sale, eventually they will tell you, man, the biggest thing I just need somebody to write my content for me. I just need somebody to get my technical setup down for me. I just need somebody to fly out to where I live and spend 48 hours with me, getting my setup correct, getting me the right words to say, helping me dial in on exactly who my customer is, helping me understand what other solutions they've tried, whatever. Man, all I really need is the best director to come and shoot this commercial for me. All I need is the best actor to do this particular role for me. You don't know what they're going to say until you engage them. Once you start to learn what it is that they need and what it's worth to them, because they might just spit it out if you ask them, hey, how much would that be worth to you? Hey, what would you be willing to invest to fix this problem for yourself? If the question, if the problem is urgent enough and the question is asked specifically and directly with trust, but without being pushy, they might just tell you, man, I would pay somebody $4,500 for that right now. And now you have a deal to make, right? Now they're on the hook because at this point, they've told you what the problem is. They've told you how urgent it is. They told you what they pay for it. Offer it to them if that's what you want to do. This is the real way that people monetize content is you treat content like what it is. It's a way to reach someone. It's a way to connect with someone. It's a way to build trust with someone, to show them how you think, how you solve problems. But from there, treat them like a customer, treat them like a person, ask them questions that walk them down a hall and eventually lead to a place of value and a deal to be made, or to a no thank you. And then you move on to the next comment or the next DM, etc. All right. That is I wish it were shorter, but that is the long version of how I monetize content. Now, we could talk about how you do that in volume, how you build a sales team around that, how you build different apparatuses to help make it easier for you to interface with those people if you don't want to spend a lot of time in your DMs, how you can build forms and email lists and other things that can help you to sort of distill the people at the top of your funnel, which is what we call all those people who come to engage with the big loud things that you put out there on the internet. There are so many ways that monetizing content can be uh, made more efficient down that path. But at its heart, at its base, this is sales. This is marketing. These are age old things. These are the ways people have been making trades since the beginning of time. All right. That's how I monetize content. All right. I'm going to start banging through these a little bit more quickly because I wanted to get those long ones out at the top of this. All right. Any tips on how to choose the way I want to show up consistently setting wise in the kitchen, like you sitting on my couch, doing my daily walk in my media room? Uh, I want you to zoom out from that question. Okay, those are I love the question. It's important. Um, but here are the things that you want to optimize for in your setup. Number one, are you the person, the instrument? Are you comfortable in that setting? Do you have a free range of movement? This is not an accident. You see? You see, I can move my body, which I will have to do because I need my entire body to communicate with you. Communication is not just the words, it's not just the eye contact, it's not just the body movement, it's all of it. It's the tone, it's the vibration that's coming through my body that translates through the vessel that it captures and sends to your phone. It's all of that. And so I want to be in a place that is comfortable to me. My kitchen's comfortable to me. It also has something very important, which is front facing lighting, particularly sunlight, which is the best light. Okay. I am not backlit by a light behind me. The overhead lighting is soft and yellow. It's not that hard white fluorescent light at a hospital. Okay. The lighting is not casting shadows on my face. I get my hair out of my face. I don't have glasses on so that I can look straight into this lens and you can see me. Okay. These are the things that comprise the right setting for you. Now, that setting could be in your car, it could be on a walk, it could be in the parking lot at the gym, it could be at the park, it could be at the dog park, it could be so many places as long as you feel comfortable and as long as we can see you clearly. Clarity is what makes this work. Clarity is the thing that helps people decide, yes, I want to go on a journey with them, or no, thank you. I don't want any of that. You want people to be able to decide very clearly. You don't want those in the middle people who are like, I'm kind of into this. I'll follow, but I'll just be an empty follower who never even really engages with the content here. We don't care for that. We don't need that. There's too many people in the world who will love us to deal with people who just simply tolerate or like us. We don't need that. Um, A couple other things about setting. You want to be able to use a vocal tone that is going to translate well in audio through the machine, which is to say, I know I can talk as loud or as softly as I need to in this room to make the point. I have two large dogs in this room about 10 feet away from me, right? At some point, somebody's going to come drop off an Amazon package. They're going to bark really loudly. It's going to be annoying, but I don't have people in this room. I don't have passersby looking at me, asking me questions. I don't have kids, but if I did, I probably wouldn't try to do this around them. I'd probably try to wait until nap time, until they're at school, because I need to know not only that I can express myself physically as robustly as I need to, but I need to be able to say what I have to say as pointedly, as specifically, as honestly as I need to say it without being interrupted or fettered by other people's opinions and feelings. And it's not about that. It's about this. Okay. These are all important to your setup. Now, how you want to sit in the lens is also important here. You want to be able to make clear eye contact with the lens, not with the screen, right? You can tell the difference between me looking at the screen versus me looking at the lens. And you want to be framed here in a way that makes it look like you are not crowded in this machine. This is too much, too many pores. You can see too many zits that way, but you also don't want to look. You guys are about to find out that I'm wearing shorts. You don't want to look like you're so far away from this thing that the algorithms cannot detect your eye contact. You want this thing is scanning for your eyes. Everything on the internet today is scanning for your eyes because it wants to let another person know that a human being's on the other side of that screen, because that's what a human being wants to respond to. That's what a human being wants to connect to. And so you want to make sure you're framed in a way that that's clear. Also, you don't want to be shot bottom up. You want to be shot top down or straight on. That's what the camera likes. That's what our eyes like. That's a trick from Hollywood, okay? This next person says, I've been making 8 TikToks a day. I've been repurposing my high performers, only 1 to 2 of them on Instagram and YouTube. Should I be doing that or higher volume on IG or YouTube Shorts? Here's my advice to you. Go deep first on one of these platforms. Go deep. Get yourself 10, 15, 20,000 followers on one of these platforms, and it will make it easier for you to then branch out onto the others because you will have evangelists. You will have people out there already excited, eager to go find you on other platforms and tell others that you are there when you're offering them new stuff. You are seeing me. Some of you are seeing me here on YouTube for the first time. You never heard of me in your life. You're going to look me up right now. Who's Chad Sanders, right? This video pops up on your screen. You're like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? You go find my Instagram, and there's 70,000 people already following me there. That offers a form of validity to you that makes you think, okay, this guy must be up to something, right? If you keep looking, you go Google, you'll see, oh, written books, he's written TV shows, movies, and all this other stuff. But what you want to see is let's be honest, you want to see a big number of people on one of these platforms that is following me that tells you, okay, this person has a legitimate audience that is already vouching for him being somebody who's worth watching. Now I will subscribe. Now I'll stay. Don't forget to subscribe. Do it now. All right. So my short answer to that question is go deep on your TikToks. If that's what you feel comfortable, if that's where you're finding momentum, go deep on your TikToks first. And as you gain a following and as you gain processes and hopefully resources to help you expand onto other platforms, then you can go repurpose your TikTok content on YouTube Shorts and on Instagram. Then you can start making long form content like this. But it's important in the process that you're learning what people like from you and the way that you want to show up and what you want to talk about so that when you go expand to those other platforms, you're not starting from scratch every single time. All right. Can you share feedback on real person versus using patented animated character? Um, This is a person asking me about AI, as I understand it, right? The question, as I see it, is Can you talk about the value of using yourself versus an avatar as the face of your brand? If I'm just going to put it robotically, here's what I've seen. Okay. I have obviously decided that I want to be the forward facing human being that stands in front of what I have to offer. That's important to me for a couple reasons. Number one, is it scratches an itch for me. I grew up a performer. I did plays and sports and piano and everything you could do in front of a live audience. I did that from the time that I was 5 or 6 years old. I love the dynamic of performing in front of people, right? I don't like performing for people when we're not doing a performance. This is very important. But I love opening up that vessel, shining the light through, and seeing how people respond to it. Okay. But aside from my own personal preferences, um, to me, here's what I have seen because I have played around with AI avatars and characters and other things. I've built little side quest Instagram profiles where I will build a brand around like a little character or something like that, just to see what happens, just to see the side by side of it. Right? Here's what I see. I see that just as dynamically as I can get people to respond to my own voice with engagement, right? Just as dynamically as I can get people to respond to seeing me, Chad Sanders, human being in front of a screen, I can get them to share videos and engage with them and comment on them, videos about an AI character. I can. However, this is very important. I pay ridiculously close attention to the conversion rates of the people who watch one of my videos to people who become followers once they watch one of my videos, because those are prospective customers for me, right? What I noticed is that the conversion of people who watch an animated character, something that I've made up to represent me, but that isn't me, okay? Something that is animated by AI or a cartoon or whatever, people will engage just as much with that thing, possibly, as they will engage with me, but they will not follow. They will not be, it's not sticky in the same way that I, as a human being, am sticky for people. When people come to my page, right? And again, only 100,000 people follow me across platforms, something like that, right? Only, so I would guess probably maybe 7 times that many people have really know who I am, and maybe 7 times that number of people have ever seen or heard of me. That's a large amount of people, but a pretty small, tiny, tiny, microscopic percentage of the people on earth. But when people do find out about me, they generally stay. 1 out of 7 is a lot. Okay. If you can get people to stick around once they see you for the first couple times, that's pretty good. Now, with these AI characters, I think what's happening is that there's a psychology here, which is we can just press a button and make another one of these. We can make 10 of them. We can make 100 of them. We can make 1,000 of them. Maybe there will be one new one every single day that's just what I like. And so there's no scarcity there. There's no worry. There's no urgency for the customer. There's no worry for the consumer that, man, if I don't follow, I'm gonna miss out on what this AI character has to say tomorrow, because 100,000 other people are out there trying to make an AI character more whatever that specific one is. Nobody else is out there trying. I mean, they could try, but nobody else is out there trying to specifically make another this person. I think that's what's happening. And I think we understand that. And I think that's why people are not in a rush to follow an AI character the same way that they rush to follow a human being. I think that's what's happening, but we're going to see, because I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep experimenting with this. All right. Um, What are your thoughts on verticals and micro dramas? This is gonna be my last one. Um, my thoughts on verticals and micro dramas. First, let's define terms. So, a vertical drama, a micro drama. We're talking about a TV series, but one that is shot in the dimensions of your phone vertically, right? Toot toot. We're using a fancy term to say something so basic, that has basically all the other same dynamics of a long form horizontal TV series, except the episodes are just shorter because it's made for socials. What I think about them is that, much like shorts, YouTube shorts, much like reels, much like Vine videos at some point in time, they will all be used for the same purpose of attracting an audience to one person's particular vision, voice, point of view, so that that relationship can then be expanded on in longer form content to grow the trust of that relationship, so that over time, the person, the machine, the entity, the business behind that vertical drama can sell you other stuff, ads, subscriptions, um, maybe movie theater experiences, live experiences, merchandise, all the same things that you're sold by any other brand that builds around your attention. And so, because I see that people are right now tripping over themselves, rushing, trying to figure out how to master vertical dramas, I'm doing a couple things. Number one, I'm experimenting with micro dramas. I'm going to shoot my own vertical series and post it on my socials to see if I can get people to stick to that particular story that's being told. And then I'm going to go see if, oh, are there others who are willing to invest more in this? Does somebody want to buy this from me? The same process I've taken for podcasts, TV shows, movies, books. You make a little piece of it, you roll it out, you see how people respond to it, and then you see if there's somebody who wants to invest in the big vision of that thing. The same thing is going to happen here for micro dramas. Now, is this going to be a cash machine for people immediately? Maybe a couple people, but those are people who likely already have big brands in the entertainment and Hollywood and storytelling spaces, because those are the people that have already built trust both with their audience and also with big studios, advertisers, companies that want to invest in people to reach that audience. And so for you, if you're out there thinking about shooting a vertical series, a vertical drama, etc., I would say experiment with this immediately, because it is a low budget, short investment, low risk way to try out whether or not people like your voice, your taste as a creator, your autorial vision, the way that you tell a story, whether you're going to test quickly and meaningfully and hopefully rapidly over and over and over again whether or not people want to watch your stories told in a short medium. And if you find an edge, if you find it's clicking, if you find an audience is there, you can make so many more in a short amount of time because it's such a short form of story that you can go and build attention from big studios and investors or wherever else you might want to work with down the path, while you're also doing the work of growing your personal brand as an entertainer, as a storyteller, so that you have access to that audience directly all the while. You're gonna be, what's the word? What's the word? I don't know. I hate this thing. You're gonna kill two birds with one stone, but we don't want to do that. That's brutal. All right, we did it. So that was my first Q&A. It was kind of fun. We're gonna learn how to do this. Give me your feedback. Tell me what you want more of. Tell me what you want less of. Tell me what questions you have. Follow me at Chad Sand on Instagram. That's the biggest place where you'll find all my content, all my offerings, all my webinars, etc. And of course, I've seen people say this for years. I never got to say it myself. Like, share, and subscribe. Goodbye.